Welcome in. It is Big Ten Today on a Thursday. We are presented by Gatorade. Dave Revson and Jake Butt. It's hard to believe college football playoff starts tomorrow. We have 4 games coming up this weekend. Cannot wait.
It's fun. I can't wait. Home playoff game in Autzen, too. That crowd's going to be rowdy. It's going to be awesome.
I think they will be fired up and ready to go, particularly when you think about how the CFP went last year. You get the home game against JMU, so everything kind of falling into place here for the Ducks. Let's dive into our big story, and it is that game for Oregon against the Dukes. The Ducks get that home field, as Jake said, a place where they've won 21 of their last 22 games. The only loss coming this year against Indiana. Oregon, one of 4 schools to make the CFP each of the last 2 years. But again, it was a quick exit for Dan Lanning's team a season ago. Bounced out as the 1 seed by eventual champ Ohio State in the Rose Bowl.
Very little talk really about, last season is so far behind us. But ultimately, I mean, everybody feels that. And those moments are all about growing from those moments. But I think we have a team that's worked really hard, been very consistent. The routine's been really dialed in, throughout this season. They've done a great job maintaining that throughout the year. It can be a long season. They've done a really good job maintaining it. And then they realize right now, it's win or go home, so they want to give their absolute best. Guys are excited about the opportunity, but I think it'd be wrong to say that this is, the preparation is different this week than any other week, right? Yes, the game's different. We all feel that. We recognize that it's different, but it's not like guys are like, okay, let's work hard now. They've been working hard, right? You work hard to get into this moment, and then it's about maintaining that level, that standard as you approach games like this.
Really interesting point, I thought, there from Dan Lanning, talking about, hey, on one hand, this isn't different. I mean, you lean on what got you here. And I understand that physically, but what about mentally? Because to his point, hey, everyone recognizes this is a bigger game. Yeah. Like, this is as important as it gets. It's win or go home. You've been in a lot of big games in your life. What's the difference in the mental approach?
Well, it's the mental approach, it's just an understanding of how quick it can end. When you have a long season, you have to mentally prepare yourself for the length of the season. But once you get into the playoffs, you've had a special year, and everyone feels that, including JMU. They know that if you don't play to your standard, it can be over just like that. And I think what Dan was saying is absolutely true. They're not doing anything different in terms of their preparation. They're not, thinking too much about last year. But I think one of the big lessons is in the playoffs is there's no time to waste. You can't settle into the game. It took them a little. Ohio State jumped on them early last year, and it took them too long to settle into the game. I expect Oregon to come out playing angry, like they have something to prove, and just to prove to the country and prove to themselves that they are one of the best teams in college football. And unfortunately for JMU, they just happen to be the team standing in their way.
Well, they've been a fabulous first-half team this year. To your point, they're outscoring their opponents by about 200 points in the first half of games. So they have jumped on opponents this year. Interesting to think about the coordinators moving on. To me, that is a challenge. I know they're still there and helping prepare for this game, but Will Stein, Tosh Lupoy, obviously both getting jobs. Stein going to Kentucky, Lupoy going to Cal. Like, to me, there's a variable there in the preparation that I think is really interesting.
It absolutely is. And I respect coaches so much. I mean, these guys work as hard as anyone in any profession, but you just can't be in 2 places at once. But I think Tosh Lupoy actually went out and he said something like this, where he turned down potential job opportunities because he had a stipulation that he be with Oregon as far as they go, and the same is true for Will Stein. So there is alignment here, and this weekend is that maybe that's something to prove, that these coaches are completely aligned and invested, and you can go out there and prove that by playing your best football for 60 minutes.
Again, this is a matchup of 2 really good teams, as you would expect, and we take a look at our big stat, which is presented by Gatorade, both in the top 10 in both scoring offense and scoring defense. 2 of 4 teams nationally that can make that claim. Both very capable passing offenses, but it's fair to say the run game has been the biggest strength on both sides, particularly recently for Oregon with some of the wide receiver injuries. So let's start there when Oregon has the ball. And I thought it was interesting, they had a partly open practice, like 15 minutes of an open practice. DeCorian Moore, Gary Bryant, and interestingly enough, Evan Stewart, who has been out all year, all participated in the open portion of this practice. So, again, we talk about them leaning on the run game. To a certain extent, that's been out of necessity, they obviously have great target in Kenyon Sadiq. They have some other guys who have stepped up. Malik Benson's been really good at wide receiver too. But when Oregon has the ball, I mean, they're a different team if all three of those guys can play.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, this is a balanced offense, and Coach Stein, with the combination of him and Dante Moore, they have the ability to beat you in any way they want to beat you. And the big challenge, too, is JMU plays a ton of man-to-man coverage, top 15 in man coverage rating in all of college football. Dante Moore has been outstanding against man coverage. I mean, that guy is one of the best at when he knows where he's going with the ball, it is going to be placed exactly where he intends it to be placed. And now you have the added bonus of great playmakers that can beat man-to-man coverage. But to me, it does start and end with the Oregon Ducks offensive line. I mean, this is a Joe Moore Award finalist. They are physically imposing, but they have Kenyon Sadiq, who I think is the glue of the run game to the play action in the passing game, a deep running back room. But before we even talk about the physicality up front, it's an extremely diverse run game. They can get into 1 or 2 tight end sets, 1 or 2 running back sets. So the challenge for a team like JMU, which has an outstanding run defense, they have been great against the run this year. It's not just having to play above yourselves and match the physicality of Oregon, which very few teams have been able to do it. You have to try to match the physicality of Oregon while also matching the mental side of being able to play discipline against a diverse run scheme. Easier said than done.
Yeah, it's interesting to look at how good JMU's been, to your point. I mean, giving up fewer than 2.5 yards per carry. I guess I just think about Oregon coming up against top 20 run defenses. Iowa, they ran the ball great. Wisconsin was a very good run defense this year. They struggled more against the pass than against the run, and Oregon ran it really well against them. And again, this is no slight to anyone that JMU has played, but to your point, like, they haven't seen Joe Moore Award finalist type offensive lines. We'll see. Again, you don't know whether you're good enough to match up with a team like that until you go up against them. They gave Louisville a pretty good game. I mean, like, hey, who's the power conference team they played? It's a pretty good Louisville team.
Yep.
They lost 28-14. It was a close game well into the second half. So, again, we'll see. But it feels like on paper there's an advantage there for Oregon, no question.
And Louisville is not a dominant rushing team by any standard, but they average about 162 yards on the ground throughout the game. And JMU held them to, like, I think 113 yards on the ground. So they did hold them below their standard. But Oregon, I just look at them, and this is true in all 3 phases. They are one of the best teams in college football in the sense they set the terms of play. You have to somehow match their physicality. And to your point, there's been many great rushing defenses that haven't been able to do that for 60 minutes.
I do want to get into when JMU has the ball. And so they've got a really talented dual threat quarterback, Alonzo Barnett III, a guy who can beat you with his arm and beat you with his legs. Wayne Knight is a diminutive back, but man, you know, he's got breakaway speed. So what's the challenge here for Oregon, who has been outstanding defensively as they go up against the Dukes?
So you kind of alluded to it. JMU's offense is really reliant on their ability to run the football. They have a slow pace of play. They want to play ball control. They want to shorten the game. But that, in order to do that, you need to get first downs, which means you have to win first and second down, which is easier said than done against an outstanding Oregon Duck rushing defense. Now, you might say, hey, with Barnett, having a mobile quarterback always scares opposing defenses. But I point to Damon Williams, who is maybe the standard of dangerous playmaking quarterbacks, and Oregon did a good job of bottling him up.
Yeah, they did a great job. They held Washington under 300 yards of total offense in that game. Is there an area at all when you look at this Oregon defense that concerns you? I mean, they played really well. They've been an elite defense all year. Is there anything where you say, if you're JMU, hey, that's something we can take advantage of?
I would say I wouldn't even call it a weak point. It's a not as strong of a strength as other parts of their defense. Like their rushing defense, like numerically, has not been as strong as other parts of their team. But still, I just look at the Ducks. across the line of scrimmage. This is an extremely dominant defensive line. Their linebackers are veteran, and then their safeties are just outstanding. Aaron Flowers, Dylan Thieneman, their ability to trigger and get downhill fast. Maybe if you can catch those safeties off guard, if you can beat them over the top in play action. But these guys are also extremely intelligent football players as well. So it's if for JMU to win this game, they have to win the turnover battle. You got to win the turnover battle by 2+. You have to force Oregon into some uncharacteristic mistakes offensively. You need to flip the field somehow on special teams, and then you need to play clean offensive football for 60 minutes. Like, that's a high pressure situation, and it's going to be hard for me to see how JMU is able to do that against the Ducks.
Right. I mean, you think about, like, hey, can you get a big explosive play? Well, I mean, there's no team in the country that's given up fewer plays of 20 yards or longer than Oregon. Oregon is very explosive themselves. I mean, I guess there's just a lot of things you always come back to. I just feel like turnovers and special teams.
The weather.
There's some way.
Have you seen the weather? It's like 100% rain for the next week plus.
Yeah.
So maybe that can always be an interesting element.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Again, you've got two teams that can run the ball.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you tell me. I mean, it feels like, if you were a team that was really pass heavy, that would be an issue.
Running the ball is not, but you need to run the ball with enough success, not enough to have a dominant day, but run the ball with enough success so you can sustain drives. Like, you need to be able to convert third downs or avoid third down altogether. The whole game plan here would be to try to shorten the game as much as possible. But if Oregon's beating you on first and second down and you're getting into third and long and all of a sudden the pass rush comes alive, that would concern me if I was JMU.
I sense you feel pretty good about this game from Oregon's.
I do. This team, I know Dan says, and it's right, like, they're not thinking about last year, but they had a special team last year and it slipped away right through their hands right away. I think that the lesson in that is how precious this postseason is and how important it is for everyone to be at their best. I expect Oregon. They have handled being the heavy favorite a number of times this season, and they have just dominated. The best loss in college football to the Hoosiers.
Right.
So, I mean, this is an outstanding football team.
I'm fascinated to see how healthy the wide receivers are, because I keep coming back to, in the last month, I mean, really all year, we haven't seen the team that they expected to have because of Stewart's injury. But the last month, they've had to kind of figure it out. I mean, Kenyon Sadiq's become a huge go-to guy, and obviously, I know in your mind he might be the best tight end.
I think he is
in the country. So I mean, it's nice to have that. I don't want to say to fall back on, but it's nice when you have these high-profile injuries to still have player of his ability, of so many different guys who can beat you. But I just think about if we really did get to a point where we saw Oregon at 100% or close to 100%, given how good they've been at less than that, sky's the limit.
You're talking about a team that could be the healthiest that they've been all season at a point in the season when most teams are having to play without key players.
Yeah.
And Oregon is getting healthy at the most important time of the season. That is scary for the rest of college football and good for the Ducks.
Speaking of scary, look at Kenyon Sadiq. That's it.
Here's the thing, too.
Tough cover.
This fan base and this crowd, I mean, when you walk outside, I had not been to Autzen before I went to cover some games there. And, like, when you look at the stadium, it's not like necessarily an intimidating stadium. But when you get in there, like, that fan base loves their football team, and they get loud. That's another challenge for JMU is, like, how are you going to handle the environment? Because other than Indiana, really no one has.
Right. And again, it's unlike anything that they have seen, and that's no fault of their own. It's just because you haven't done something before doesn't mean that you can't do it, but it's going to be tough, no doubt. The Ducks have to be feeling pretty good, but again, they used last year as that guy. Different scenario when you're taking on a team that ended up winning the national championship as Ohio State did, but